discount per household.
What might the nation's central bank do with this latest reading?
The Consumer Price Index measures how much prices change, and today the Labor Department reporting August's Consumer Price Index rose 2% and was up 2.5% over the last 12 months. That's just 0.1% below what was expected by analysts, and marks the first time since March 2021 that the one-year increase was below 3%. That's an indication that inflation continues to cool.
That latest inflation report from ABC's Dave Packer. Shipping costs could be going up. The U.S. Postal Service says it's ending discounts that companies like UPS and DHL get to use the service. The move is meant to help the post office slow losses, but it could mean consumers pay more. Already, FedEx is eliminating its FedEx Smart Post that utilized the postal network using its own trucks and contractors. More than 3 dozen attorneys general want to see a warning added to social media sites.
In the same way that research showed a link between smoking and lung cancer in the 1960s, U.S. Surgeon General Vivek Murthy says that in 2024,
we do have growing evidence that tells us that social media use is associated with harms.
Especially, he says, to young people. 42 attorneys general have signed on to a letter urging Congress to slap a tobacco-style warning label on social media. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
France's counterterrorism prosecutor says authorities foiled 3 plots to attack the Olympic Games in Paris. Chuck Severson, ABC News.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
News Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KBNU.
I'm Bill Walter, KBNU News. News brought to you by Cardall's Insulation. On her monthly visit to KBNU's For the People program last week, Jamie Andrus, CEO of the Cache Valley Chamber of Commerce, talked about events this month, including the Patriot Day Invitational to be held Friday at Logan River Golf Course.
We do have, I believe, 1 to 2 teams left that we could squeeze in if anyone's interested. Our sponsors and host sponsorships are full, and we're very excited that we're going to be making a donation in honor of Patriot Day 9/11 to the League, the Marine Corps League Auxiliary.
Andrea said there are a lot of big events going on surrounding the 9/11 commemoration, so they are happy to be part of the week's activities. Other events this month include a Meet the Candidates luncheon on September 17th. That will be held from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Logan Country Club. Andrea said instead of a debate, it will be an open forum type format.
So we're allowing each candidate who shows up, which, you know, we know in advance who we've invited and who will be able to attend, to actually just stand up and tell a little bit about themselves, their office that they're running for, and then maybe their platform, what they hope to accomplish. And they'll be there for the networking half hour, and then afterwards to take some questions as well.
She said they are also having an interesting group known as the Utah Global Diplomacy Group as their sponsor, and by invitation only, they will have a roundtable with them after the leadership lunch. A public safety alert has been issued by the West Jordan Police Department after an insurance broker was arrested and charged with raping one of his clients. Specializing in Medicare and family insurance plans, 60-year-old John K. Miller worked with a woman before the alleged incident late last month. Over concerns that the incident was not isolated, police are asking other possible victims of Miller to come forward and report what may have occurred. Police wrote on the alert that it is understood that Mr. Miller has had access to the vulnerable adult population due to his work with them. It is also a concern that Miller is known to work throughout Utah and possibly surrounding states. He has been charged on multiple counts, including 3 counts of rape and 1 count of object rape. And Juab High School in Nephi is canceling in-person classes, did so today to further deal with a bat problem in the building. The school district said this is being done out of an abundance of caution. All classes were going to be held virtually today, and they expect class to return to normal tomorrow. The district's announcement read that this will allow the Juab High School campus to be empty so that professional wildlife mitigation workers can move freely and inspect all areas of the building for bats. Last week, the high school had to move classes and cancel activities that were held in the gym or neighboring classrooms due to the presence of the bats. KVNU weather brought to you by Roof Rescue, dedicated to keeping your home safe and dry from minor repairs to complete roof replacement. Watertight peace of mind. Go to roofrescueusa.com or call 435-999-4268. Chance of showers and thunderstorms this evening. Overnight low in the upper 40s. Areas of smoke continuing. Patchy smoke with us Thursday and Thursday night. And a 50% chance of showers and storms during the day Thursday, and quite a bit cooler, only around 65 for the high. Get more news at CashValleyDaily.com.
Hey, radio listeners, before we get you back to the music, let me tell you real quick about what I did that is saving me a lot of money. I got new insulation in my house. That's right. Now, I know you're thinking, boring, but have you seen the reports lately about how better insulation can save a ton of money on your energy bills? I can tell you it made a huge difference in my home. I mean, not only does the temperature stay perfect, but my energy bill is definitely down. Do what I did. Call Cardall's Insulation, 755-5012. That's 755-5012 for Cardall's Insulation.
News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
Fall is upon us and the leaves are changing colors. That means it's time to hit the canyons in style and pack up the whole family for a drive and go see all the sights in the comfort and safety of a new Murdoch Volkswagen. Right now, receive 0% for 5 years or $2,000 customer bonus on a new 2024 Tiguan. When you walk through our doors, you feel like family at Murdoch Volkswagen in Logan or online at murdochbw.com.
Call 888-391-6083 or see dealer for complete details. Offer expires 9/30/24.
Is it just me, or does life seem to slow down this time of year? The kids are back in school, the days are shorter, everyone is on more of a routine. I love it because I get to spend more time with Mom. You see, we moved Mom to Legacy House of Logan a while back, and it's been the best thing for her and us. The meals are wonderful. The activities are so good for Mom. She's made so many friends. The attention they give Mom is more than I could ask for. Thank you, Legacy House.
Legacy House of Logan provides 24-hour care to help your loved one with daily activities on 1400 North in Logan.
Join in the fun Saturday, September 28th for the second annual Center Street Giant Pumpkin Festival. This family fun event will run from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. on historic Center Street in Logan. This is an all-day fall celebration with Center Street coming to life with live music, food, art, children's activities, and lots of giant pumpkins on display as they fight for the title of Center Street Giant. For more info, go to centerstreetgiant.com or call 752-2345. Sponsored by Cache Valley Bank and Anderson Seed and Garden.
We just got off the bridge. What do you want us to do? Want to make that citywide? 32 border citywide. Want to citywide? Or 6 out of 32 border citywide. 32 boys.
That is actual police scanner audio playing live right now. Broadcastify does this every year as part of their tribute to the events of September 11th, 2001. And that scanner traffic is, it's quite something to hear. We just tuned in there live, but they start at 8 in the morning, roughly about 12 minutes in, I think, to the first plane striking the first tower. So you missed the first 12 minutes of events on the ground that day, and then the scanner traffic just, I don't know. I've heard this many times over the last 23 years, but I have always been struck by it. In fact, there are parts of the scanner traffic that kind of make the hair on the back of your neck stand up, if you remember the timeline and events of the day as it played out, including, and we'll get to some of this here over the next hour in our own little 9/11 memorial here on For the People. Before we get to some of the broadcasts, some of the news clips, some of the daytime TV episodes that were live as this played out, just want to remind everyone that Cache Valley Remembers is taking place. It kicked off at 9 a.m. this morning. This is an entirely volunteer-driven effort. The 9/11 Project, brought to Cache Valley by Jenny Taylor and the Brent Taylor Foundation, and Cache County helping with this as well. We spoke with Jenny and County Executive David Zook a couple of weeks ago on the show about how this came to be and how much work has gone into this. Basically, they've created a museum within the Hanson Family Sports Complex in North Logan. And it's a walkthrough type experience with video presentations, artifacts from Ground Zero, memorabilia from victims and firefighters who lost their lives that day. It's heartbreaking to see in person, but it's important, I think, to see in person as well, because we have a whole generation now of kids who, think about this, a whole generation of kids who are old enough to be graduating college right now who weren't alive when this happened. For a lot of us, this is a fresh memory still. I can tell you exactly where I was and what the room looked like and even smelled like when I first flipped on CNN that day after a friend texted me. I'd missed it. I wasn't watching the news. I had quit one job and had the next job lined up, and I'd timed this so I had this 2-week break. I thought I was so clever. I was going to take this 2-week break because when will I get the chance to do this again? I told myself, and in the middle of that 2-week break, this took place. And a friend texted me and said, all it said was turn on CNN. I turned on CNN as the video footage of that first tower with the big black hole in it and smoke roiling out of it was, and like almost everyone else, I assumed some sort of air traffic control mix-up, some kind of pilot or crew with a medical event, malfunction of a key piece of flight technology or hardware on a passenger plane. Those are the last thing to pop into my head was terrorism, until a short time later that second plane hit the second tower, and then I, like probably everyone else watching, it just clicked at that point. Everyone, I think, at that point thought, okay, we're dealing with something different here. Coming up over the next hour, you'll actually get a chance to hear this play out. Both on daytime TV, Regis and Kelly, formerly Regis and Kathy Lee, was broadcast. They started their show 12 minutes in, just as the Spotify broadcast starts, and with the scanner traffic, and to hear their reaction as they guess incorrectly at what's going on, of course, and then just to hear that live television, to hear that realization settle in. I remember seeing the same thing with Wolf Blitzer on CNN, when you could almost see it on his face when he realized this is a terrorist attack. The timeline of the day, we'll also run through that as well. But before we get to all that, I do want to play this one little clip from the scanner traffic that day. Again, Broadcastify does this all day long. It's going until about 10 o'clock tonight. Starts at 8 a.m. They do this every year on 9/11. They air, synced up with the actual live clock of your day, they air the scanner traffic. And so if you tune in now on broadcastify.com, you'll hear police and fire scanner traffic from what would be 7 p.m. roughly in 7 p.m. New York City time. But they start at 8 in the morning, so you can go through the whole thing basically again. I've listened to hours of this over the years, not all in one. I've never had an entire day to set aside to do it. I don't know if I could, but I've listened to hours of this, and there are parts that bring tears to your eyes as you hear, as you hear firefighters responding to what they're seeing. Some trapped inside the Second World Trade Center building before it goes down. Others, voices that because of how events played out did not survive. It's just heartbreaking. This is a part, just a few seconds of the scanner traffic as the first tower goes down. Now, previous to this, you've had, quite a bit of time of, just general scanner traffic, people checking in, staging locations, triage locations, EMS announcing the location. There's a lot of traffic of emergency crews coming over bridges from out of New York City coming in to help. They're moving things around as the situation gets worse and worse. The second plane hits. That, of course, it triggers additional emergency responders because they know now they have 2 towers with people who are going to need to be rescued. And then as all this is playing out, there's this moment when that first tower goes down, and it begins with, according to 911memorial.org, the official history site for the events of the day, the 911memorial.org, according to their reports, this is a paramedic who no one ever found out exactly who this was or whether this person survived. But they know from the ID that's in his call and who he's talking to, they know it's just a paramedic. But you hear at a certain point, a paramedic says, "The tower came down." And then this is the remainder of the scanner traffic from that event. And as you'll hear, it's absolute chaos.
Just stand by. Everybody over there?
Just absolute silence after this morning of just chaotic scanner traffic. You hear a paramedic, we learn later, say the tower went down. They actually don't rebroadcast that because that man likely didn't survive. Or the tower is coming down, he says. He screams it without identifying himself, without stating his location. Is tradition when you're starting a emergency call, radio call. You have to alert who you are and who you're talking to so you don't confuse everyone else. He does none of that. He says the tower is coming down. And the next thing you hear that broadcaster, a New York, downtown Manhattan, dispatcher say, "Everyone stand by, everyone stand by." She nearly shouts it. And then just this creepy, probably 30 seconds of silence.
have one lieutenant, a paramedic crew. We have the weapons of mass destruction kit from LSU 4 on board. Can you advise me of a route from Queens General? We have a 1013. Listen up, 1013. For the citywide priority message. Proceed. Everybody stand by for the priority. Citywide priority message. 4-4, proceed with your priority message. Stop in the lobby of number 7 World Trade. We have about 40 people here at this time. 7 World Trade, 10 foot.
Again, that actual police scanner audio from the morning, and that last little bit there gets me every time. He said, we're trapped here in the lobby of World Trade. There are about 40 people here at the time, and at this time. And we know, of course, now that none of those individuals survived. Just horrible. They were trapped in the second tower by the rubble of the first tower coming down. And later in the broadcast, you can hear him, that same individual, saying, we're still here. There's 40 of us. I don't believe there is street access. It's quite a thing to hear. Memorializing the events of September 11th, 2001, 23 years ago today, here on For the People, and we'll continue how it was covered on cable news, on the morning daytime TV shows, which were broadcasting live at the time, how President Bush responded, his speech, which he has said is the hardest thing he's ever had to do, and then wrap things up with his remarks 3 days later from Ground Zero, alongside firefighters and police who survived, heroes of the day. All of that coming up as we memorialize September 11th, 2001, here on KVNU's For the People.
News Talk 610 AM, 102.1 FM, KVNU.
This is Sweetwater Window Cleaning. Fall is upon us, and it's time for your end-of-season window clean. This is probably the most important clean of the year. There's a good chance several of your windows have been pounded by sprinkler overspray during the summer. Left unclean, this can permanently damage your glass, let alone ruin your view for the next several months. Call now, mention this ad, and receive free hard water removal.
Sweetwater Window Cleaning, 3636543, 3636543.
The Napa Gold Filter Sale through September 14 has 60% off all Napa Gold filters, and Napa's most popular motor oils are on sale too. Napa Synthetic Blend, $2.99 a quart. Full Synthetic, $3.99 a quart. That means 5 quarts of Napa Premium Oil and a Napa Gold filter start for less than $20. Mention this ad, get a Napa racing hat with any $50 purchase while supplies last. Air filters, cabin filters, fuel filters, oil filters, every Napa Gold filter on sale at your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores from Preston to Providence.
Big thank you from Magnor Plumbing. We're the proud silver winner for plumber in the 2024 Best of Northern Utah. We owe it all to our fantastic community. Thanks, guys.
There is no place like home, and there's no better place to spruce up your home than with great remodeling ideas at the Logan Home Show. Here this weekend at the Cache County Event Center. From home automation, security, and remodeling and design, the Logan Home Show has what you need, and they have it all under one roof. This weekend at the Cache County Event Center. Free admission and parking. See more online at LoganHomeshow.com. That's LoganHomeshow.com. We'll see you there.
When it comes to home care, it's important to know you have a choice. If you or a loved one is in need of hospice or home health services, remember that Primrose Home Care and Hospice believes in treating the patient as well as the problem. We work directly with you and your doctor to create a health plan that's catered to your needs. Our team is devoted to providing options in the freedom and safety of your own home. Visit us at primrosecare.com or call to schedule a free consultation. Primrose Home Care and Hospice, your local hospice and home health provider since 2006.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. memorializing September 11th, 2001 here in this hour of radio. Opening the show there, you heard highlights, not highlights, the habit of radio to say highlights there, definitely not highlights, but clips of actual scanner traffic from the island of Manhattan that day, from just chaotic scenes of emergency response crews coming in over bridges from other cities as they realize, they need more and more help. And again, at first, one tower on fire. Shortly after that, second plane strikes the second tower. The nation at that point realizes this was an intentional event, that some persons did this. Amidst that shock, the first tower goes down. And that was all, covered live, not only on cable news, but morning talk shows here on our airwaves as Alan Craig, worked through the morning program as this was playing out. The timeline of the day is also so at 5:40 a.m. the hijackers, unknown to everyone, passed through security in Portland, Maine, on the morning of September 11th, 2001. There were 19 terrorists, and in the end, they will hijack 4 commercial airplanes originally bound for California. And shortly after the departure from the planes took off from Boston, Massachusetts, Newark, and New Jersey, and the Washington, D.C. area. And the hijackers, they less than 2 hours later, another 5 terrorists will hijack American Airlines Flight 77. And they are actually all videotape passing through, in the case of Airlines Flight 77, Washington Dulles International Airport. And at the time, airports were not required to videotape security checkpoints, but in Dulles they were doing that. And at the time, of course, knives were allowed on the plane, and they didn't really use big knives either. 6 a.m., New York City polling stations open. There was a primary election underway that day, for New York City, primary for the municipal races that year. And they were being held for mayor, public advocate, comptroller, and a handful of city council seats were open and up that year. And so the polling places opened at 6 a.m. in New York City. 7:59 a.m., Flight 11 takes off from Boston. 8:15 a.m., Flight 175 takes off from Boston. Both of those flights are, again, headed towards Los Angeles. 8:20 a.m., Eastern Time, of course, Flight 77 en route to Los Angeles takes off from Washington Dulles. And 8:24 a.m., Flight 11 takes off from New Jersey. And that's 8:20 a.m. And then at 8:24 a.m., one of the hijackers transmits the first known message, attempting to communicate with passengers and crew inside the cabin, and he pressed the wrong button. So instead of just communicating with the cabin, he actually broadcast to air traffic control, alerting controllers to the attacks. But as this was heard by air traffic controllers, no one really knew what to do with it. This hijacker, Mohammed Atta, his transmission was picked up by the pilot of Flight 175, a man named Victor Saracini, and he immediately, upon hearing it, called the FAA and said just minutes ago he'd heard this, and minutes later they broke through the cabin door of his own plane and hijacked his plane. 8:30 a.m., the morning of September 11th, 2001, World Trade Center opens. Morning activities commence at the World Trade Center, and the commercial building complex in Lower Manhattan, owned by the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, opens as well. This is an interstate agency, so a lot of activity and traffic. There were events scheduled for the day. This is that evening. There was an event called Evening Stars at the Twin Towers. It had been running since September 5th, and this was a 11-day celebration of dance produced by the Lower Manhattan Cultural Council. And they were, midway through their run there. The Peace Corps International Organization was actually hosting a conference at the World Trade Center. 8:37 a.m., Boston Air Traffic Control alerts the military after hearing Mohammed Atta's transmission and that call from another pilot who later has his own plane hijacked. And Boston's Air Traffic Control Center alerts the U.S. Air Force Northeast Air Defense Sector, NEADS, as it's known. And they are headquartered in Rome, New York. And NEADS mobilizes Air National Guard jets at Otis Air Force Base, 8:37 a.m. 8:42 a.m., Flight 93 takes off from Newark, New Jersey. And within minutes of the other hijacked flights, and United Airlines Flight 93 takes off, delayed due to routine traffic, and 7 crew members, 33 passengers, and 4 hijackers on that plane. And, of course, you know the story of that plane. And then 8:46 a.m., American Airlines Flight 11 hits floors 93 through 99 of World Trade Center 1, the North Tower. 76 passengers, 11 crew members, and hundreds of people inside the building killed instantly. 8:46 a.m., responders mobilize. The emergency crews are out. A lot of that traffic you heard at the start of the show there, that's coming from roughly 8:46 to around 8:55 a.m. Paramedics, firefighters, all of them entering the North Tower and immediately heading up the stairs, elevators, everything they can, or elevator shafts, actually, rappelling and more, doing everything they can. They know they've got to get up there to the 93rd floor at least to rescue. 8:50 a.m., President Bush is notified. The famous video of that. Someone comes in. He's reading to school kids at an elementary school in Sarasota, Florida. And he's informed that at the time, a, quote, small plane has hit the North Tower. Bush advisors assume that this is a tragic accident. At 8:55 a.m., South Tower declared secure. And the message sent out is, ladies and gentlemen, Building 2 is secure. There is no need to evacuate Building 2. If you are in the midst of evacuation, you may use re-entry doors and elevators to return to your office. Repeat, Building 2 is secure. This announcement was made by the Port Authority fire safety employee via the South Tower's public address system at 8:55 a.m. And 8:59 a.m., 4 minutes later, the PAPD orders evacuation of the Twin Towers entirely. But at that point, of course, it is too late. 9 a.m. on board Flight 175, a flight attendant, likely it's guessed that it's Robert John Fangman, reached out to United Airlines operator in San Francisco and reported a hijacking underway. By 9 a.m., passengers Garnet Ace Bailey, Peter Burton Hansen, and Brian David Sweeney have called family members and left voicemails saying their plane has been hijacked. And 9:02 a.m., they changed their minds. Evacuation is ordered for the South Tower. 1 minute later, Flight 175, United Airlines Flight 175, hits floors 77 through 85 of 2 World Trade Center, the South Tower. And, increasing response ramped up. Again, in the scanner traffic, you can hear people saying, we're coming across the bridge. Where do you want us? Things like that. New York City Mayor arrives about 9:05 at the New York Police Department command post. Mayor at the time, of course, Mayor Rudy Giuliani. 9:12 a.m., flight attendant Renee May calls her mother, Nancy, from Flight 77 and tells her the hijackers will seek control of the plane, forcing passengers and crew to the rear. When they're disconnected, Nancy calls American Airlines. Minutes later, Flight 77, passenger Barbara Olson calls her husband, and she tells him the hijackers have taken over the flight using box knives. And that call gets spread around. Mayor's Office of Emergency Management is actually evacuated around 9:30 a.m. 9:36 a.m., the U.S. Vice President, Dick Cheney, is escorted to a secure location. 9:37 a.m., attack on the Pentagon, Washington, D.C. evacuations, that famous, infamous 9/11 call from Flight 93 happens at 9:58 a.m. And 9:59 a.m., everything gets even worse with the collapse after being on fire for about 56 minutes of the South Tower. It collapses from standing to rubble in less than 10 seconds, and more than 800 civilians, first responders still inside the building, are killed as a result of that collapse of that tower. So that's the timeline of the day. It's easy to forget this, this was less than 2 hours. All of this played out and forever changed everybody who witnessed it. We'll keep going. How these events played out on live television, as even morning shows like Regis and Kelly tried their best to bring people the news live on their program while in shock themselves, not knowing what was happening or going on. We'll get to that right after these headlines with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Jason. KVNU News is brought to you by Roof Rescue. As we first told you about last hour, a new wildfire started today, prompting evacuations in Box Elder County, according to Utah Fire Info. The brush fire was reported west of Promontory Point and has burned around 50 acres. Fire managers said flames are threatening structures in the area. Utah Fire Info reported a couple of homes were being evacuated. The fire is suspected to be human-caused. Crews from Box Elder and Weber counties are working to contain the fire. A red flag warning was issued today by the National Weather Service in that area for Box Elder County and then also along the Wasatch Front due to strong southwesterly wind gusts and relative humidity levels under 14%. A 33-year-old North Logan man has been sentenced to prison for repeatedly abusing a woman and several children for the past 8 years. George Arthur Neal was ordered to serve between 1 and 15 years after telling a judge his behavior was reckless. Neal was sentenced Monday in Logan's First District Court. He previously accepted a plea deal, pleading guilty to aggravated assault and aggravated child abuse, both second-degree felonies, domestic violence in the presence of a child, aggravated kidnapping, and stalking, all third-degree felonies. According to prosecutors, the victim contacted officers with North Park Police, reporting multiple incidents of domestic violence and child abuse, suffering substantial emotional distress and fear for their safety. She described episodes of strangulation, pushing, hitting, various threats, violent confrontations, manipulation, and emotional abuse. The woman provided photographs taken from one of the most recent occurrences showing bruising on her face. She also gave detectives a recorded phone call where the defendant admitted to being physically violent at least 8 times. Police interviewed Neal as part of their investigation. During questioning, he claimed that he could not remember what happened, saying he had an issue with long-term memory and difficulty remembering things. He also admitted to using medical marijuana on a regular basis and believed that had contributed to his memory loss. During Monday's sentencing, defense attorney Joseph Saxton said his client had broken more than just the law and his behavior was abhorrent. He asked the court to consider a sentence of jail and treatment instead of prison. The victim said she had lived in constant fear of being harmed by Neal. She asked the court not to give the defendant any mercy, saying a message needed to be sent on how he had caused significant damage to her and her children. Judge Angela Fonsbeck said Neal had an extensive criminal history and was a high-level risk to the community. She called his behavior unconscionable, being one person in public and another in private. The judge refused to grant a lighter sentence, telling Neal he should have gotten treatment years ago. She ordered him to serve the maximum sentence for each of the charges he had pleaded guilty to, with the terms running at the same time. KBNU weather brought to you by Quality First Insurance. Insuring your business can be frustrating. Matt Robbins at Quality First can help, and he will call you back. For more information, go to q1ins.com. Chance of showers and thunderstorms this evening. Overnight low in the upper 40s. Gusty southwest winds as well. Then a chance of showers and thunderstorms during the day tomorrow. 50% chance. Still patchy smoke in the forecast. Partly sunny. Much cooler. Mid-60s for the high. Get more news at CashValleyDaily.com.
Roof Rescue is your local roof specialist, dedicated to keeping your home safe and dry no matter the weather. Their team of experienced roofers is here to serve you, providing top-quality service at affordable prices. From minor repairs to complete roof replacements, they've got you covered. Remember, your roof is your first line of defense in protecting your family from the elements. So don't wait until the next storm to discover your roof problems. Call Roof Rescue today at 435-999-4268. They're your trusted local roofing experts, here to keep your home safe and dry. Roof Rescue, celebrating 10 years of providing watertight peace of mind.
The Cache Valley Latino Festival is coming to Logan Center Street September 14th, and you're invited. The celebration begins at 11 a.m. with a parade. Enjoy music and live performances throughout the day. Mouth-watering food trucks and vendors offering handmade crafts. It's a celebration of Latin American heritage and culture that everyone can enjoy. So bring your family and friends and let's celebrate. The Latino Festival is sponsored by Members First Credit Union. Large enough to provide the services you need, small enough to provide the services you deserve. Gosner Foods. The straws are back on Gosner Milk. Pick up some high-quality dairy products at the Gosner Food Store. Anderson Seed and Garden and Logan Extermination, keeping you green during the summer and in the holiday spirit in the winter. Presto Products, now hiring. Apply for a career today at Presto Products in Lewiston. And Connect Public Transit, formerly CBTD, connecting you with the people and places that matter most. Find your route at rideconnectutah.gov. The Cache Valley Latino Festival, September 14th on Center Street in Logan, where culture and community come together.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Continuing on with our memorial of September 11th, 2001. This is it's a hard memorial to do because I remember it. I remember a lot of this as it was playing out. You heard at the start of the show there some of our clips from actual scanner traffic as things played out. Broadcastify, again, does this every year on September 11th. They air the original scanner traffic starting at 8 a.m. and matching the time of, what was going on in New York City that day after that first plane struck the first tower. They start at 8 a.m. and they air throughout the day the actual recordings of New York City police scanner traffic as it literally, so you can tune in at any time today and hear what was going on for law enforcement and firefighters at Ground Zero. And I listened to a bit of that today, and I remember, you heard at the start of the show there again that clip we played with the shock of the first tower coming down and those firefighters trapped inside. That one radio call, there's 40 of us here. I don't know if there's street access. We can't see anything. I believe we're trapped in the lobby of World Trade Center. And, remembering how this played out that day, it almost seems unreal, rehashing it this many years later, 23 years later. But it's important to do, I think. Remember, there's an entire generation coming out of high school, going into college now, who were not alive when this happened. And so I think, like Pearl Harbor, like other historical events, and that have a lesson with them. And what that lesson is has been a debate for the last 23 years as well. It's important to remember it. This is one other clip I wanted to play here as part of our hour-long special, if you will, on the anniversary of September 11th, 2001 here today. This is Regis and Kathy Lee. I talked to a lot of people in my family who watched daytime TV, stay-at-home moms, a couple of retired folks at the time, now no longer with us, but they said they were watching a very popular morning show, Regis and Kelly. Sorry, not Kathy Lee. Kathy Lee had moved on to this point. It was called Live with Regis and Kelly, and it aired, I think the show started around 8 in the morning I'm sorry, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. So they started their show an hour into the events of September 11th. And here's how they opened the show that day.
With Regis and Kelly. Today, Joan Rivers. And we've got another young inventor with a cutting-edge idea. Plus, Jeepers Creepers, we've got actress Gina Phillips. And check out this incredible performance from the Camet Band. It's like nothing you've ever seen before. All next on Live. Now here are Regis Philbin and Kelly Ripa.
Standing ovation back there. Hi, how you doing? Nice to see you. Yeah. Hi, everybody. It's Tuesday, September 11th, 2001. Our studio audience has been in there for at least the last 15, 20 minutes, and so you missed the big story of the day that's developing right now here in New York City. A plane has crashed into one of the twin towers of the World Trade Center. You can see it now on the screen right there. And don't know what the intent was, whether it was deliberate or accidental, but there is a fire going on there. Bits of debris are falling out of the sidewalks below. It happened at 8:48, about 12 minutes ago. And so it's developing and will continue to develop all through the day.
And if you can see those bits of debris, they're large. If you can see it, it's large.
Yeah. Regis and Kelly continue their discussion for, a few minutes. And as they're talking with this live video playing in the background, the second plane hits the second tower. Now, they don't know that at the time, and you'll hear some speculation on their part here.
But they really had quite a storm last night. Lightning bolts coming down, and it really was something.
I made it just inside, just in time. I was with the kids, and we, oh my gosh, something just exploded.
It's a close-up view, I guess.
Something just exploded.
Maybe that plane had something in it. And there's phones going off.
Are we getting an explosion?
There was an explosion
inside?
there, huh? Yeah. You can see the flames.
When something like this happens, it's such a mass destruction.
You can hear as the live broadcast continues a producer whisper in Regis's ear, likely cargo on the plane or even the fuselage of the plane exploding and throwing shrapnel into Tower 2 from Tower 1. And then Regis says on air that's likely what it was. Now, of course, minutes later, second plane hits the second tower. And Regis and Kelly at that point end their broadcast, and NBC flips over to live coverage of events at World Trade Center, Tower 1 and Tower 2. But that was kind of how everyone experienced it that morning. It went within minutes from a tragic accident to an obvious terrorist attack, and then the towers went down. And all of this played out in under 2 hours, start to finish. On the other side, how President Bush responded, and then 3 days later, the famous speech he gave from Ground Zero alongside firefighters and police that rallied a nation. We'll be back with continue our 9/11 memorial here on For the People right after this.
Utah's at a crossroads. The surging economy of the last decade is not today's reality. Cache Valley is feeling the effects of rising housing costs, stagnant wages, and skyrocketing energy prices. This is not acceptable, and I know we can do better. I'm Jason Thompson, and as a successful business owner, proven job creator, and experienced city mayor, I know what it takes to ensure that Utah is heading in the right direction. But I can't do it alone. I need your vote this November. At electjasonThompson.com, learn how together we can keep Utah heading in the right direction.
Paid for by
the committee to elect Jason Thompson.
It's the final week of the 2024 Top of Utah Parade of Homes, presented by Willow Lakes. Explore stunning, custom-built homes, showcasing exquisite design and architecture. September 19th through the 21st, Platinum sponsors Burton Lumber and Remax Peaks invite you to experience Cache Valley and Bear Lake's finest living. Mark your calendars to be inspired by these beautiful homes. Get tickets at Bank of Utah and USU Credit Union or online at topofutahparadeofhomes.com. That's topofutahparadeofhomes.com.
Disasters don't wait for a convenient time. When the unexpected strikes, call the trusted team at Blue Sky. Remember, Blue Sky is that same great ARS team you know and trust.
This is Tom with Blue Sky Restoration. When disaster strikes, whether it's a flood, fire, mold damage, or an unforeseen accident, Blue Sky will clean up, repair, and restore your home or business like it was before. No disaster is too big or too small. For all your restoration needs, you can trust our Blue Sky team.
This Saturday before the football game, bring your appetite to the annual Ag Day Barbecue from 11:30 to 2 at Craig Aston Park in Logan. Enjoy this delicious feast, and the proceeds help fund the CAAS student scholarships. Buy tickets at the gate or online at agbbq.usu.edu. The Utah Department of Agriculture and Food and Utah Zone proud to sponsor this year's Ag Day Barbecue, Saturday at Craig Aston Park. Buy tickets now at agbbq.usu.edu or Google Ag Day Barbecue USU.
I'm Larry Gelwigs, the getaway guru for Morris, Columbus Travel and Norwegian Cruise Line, with the biggest cruise promotion of the year, including free open bar, free Wi-Fi, free excursions, free specialty dining, and on select cruises, the third and fourth person sail absolutely free. You just pay the taxes. And for the best travel deals on the planet, give us a call at Morris, Columbus Travel.
Come on and get away, Morris Columbus.
This Saturday on Merlin Olsen Field, two old foes get back together and renew a rivalry. A long-standing competition originating back to 1892. Utah versus Utah State, and the Battle of the Brothers will be commemorated with a special one-of-a-kind navy blue shirt featuring both teams' helmets and available now at Locker 42. Locker 42, here to have you game day ready with an impressive selection of Aggie hats, hoodies, shirts, and jackets. Locker 42, always ready for game day.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. The gubernatorial debate and Aggie Coaches Show up next here on KVNU Logan. There's your lineup for the evening. Right now, we are memorializing the events of September 11th, 2001, with wrapping things up here after all of this played out all day long, and people wrapped their head around this, forced to very, very rapidly in two what seemed like very long hours that morning, then watching this play out over the day, and of course the realization that thousands of lives were likely lost when those two towers went down. For a lot of people who watched this played out, it was traumatic. And President Bush said he was so aware of that when he made his remarks that evening. He said it was one of the hardest speeches he ever had to give, and said it marked him as a person and obviously as a president. And here's what he said to the American people late afternoon, early evening of September 11th, 2001.
Good evening. Today, our fellow citizens, our way of life, our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts. The victims were in airplanes or in their offices, secretaries, businessmen and women, military and federal workers, moms and dads, friends and neighbors. Thousands of lives were suddenly ended by evil, despicable acts of terror. The pictures of airplanes flying into buildings, fires burning, huge structures collapsing, have filled us with disbelief, terrible sadness, and a quiet, unyielding anger. These acts of mass murder were intended to frighten our nation into chaos and retreat. But they have failed. Our country is strong. A great people has been moved to defend a great nation.
That was, again, remarks from President Bush that evening. 3 days later, he gave this speech from Ground Zero alongside firefighters and police, and this is the speech that everyone actually remembers.
Thank you all. Get him, George! I want you all to know, I can't go any louder. I want you all to know that America today is on bended knee in prayer for the people whose lives were lost here, for the workers who work here, for the families who mourn. This nation stands with the good people of New York City and New Jersey and Connecticut as we mourn the loss of thousands of our citizens. I can hear you. I can hear you. The rest of the world hears you. And the people who knock these buildings down will hear all of us soon.
Again, those remarks made via bullhorn from Ground Zero by President Bush that day, or excuse me, 3 days later. This was on September 14th, 2001, when that took place. Again, just it's hard to believe all of this took place in a matter of hours for those of us that experienced, but it's important to remember it again as we realize that there, not to make everybody feel old, there's a whole generation out there graduating college, old enough to graduate college at this point, who did not live through this and know it only through history books. And it was a day that changed the country, changed the world, really. Cache Valley Remembers underway, opened 9 a.m. this morning at the Hanson Family Sports Complex. Get out there. It's a free event, kind of a walk-through museum-style experience with job fairs and more attached, courtesy of Cache County and the Brent Taylor Foundation. You can also listen to our interview with Jenny Taylor of the Brent Taylor Foundation on the For the People podcast on why they decided to join with the 9/11 Project and bring this to Cache Valley for the next 4 days. The Cache Valley Remembers event wraps up 9 p.m. Saturday evening, but it opened this morning. It is free. Get out there, see it, remember this day and what it meant